Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thomas Ruse Bazar with the Poet Warriors. One of my latest mukbangs, I got this. One of my hauls, classical music hauls. That's right. Bruno Walter with the Columbia Symphony Orchestra, which him and Columbia made many great recordings. Too many to, Mahler, Bruckner, Beethoven, Dvorak. I could go on and on. Bruno Walter right there. And this one is Bruckner's fourth, also known as the Romantic. Want to talk about this a little bit. Want to talk about Bruckner. Bruckner, interesting fellow. I had a friend, a colleague who is a composer, musician, PhD in music. And I asked him who was his favorite, if there was such a thing as a favorite composer. He mentioned Vivaldi and he mentioned Bruckner. And I say, why Bruckner? And he thinks Bruckner's compositions are terrific. His symphonies, his symphonic work. And, for some reason, I can never really get into Bruckner. I just think he's too bombastic. He wrote 9 symphonies, and before the 9th, there was 0 and 0, and there are various, versions of them, all these different versions, this version and that version of one symphony, and it was kind of hard to keep up. But anyway, when you have Bruno Walter conducting, it's worth a purchase. This one, hardly ever spent $10. I guess this was a new one. This was looked to be in mint condition. I got it. I don't like to drop $10 for anything unless I really want it. But I saw him. I saw the condition it was in. I saw Bruckner. And I always want to give Bruckner a chance. I have to say, the 7th Symphony, I like. The 9th Symphony, his last symphony, very much inspired maybe by, when you think about 9th symphonies of Dvorak, of Mahler, of Beethoven. These are these they put the exclamation mark kind of on the symphonic body of work of these composers. And same with Bruckner. I think Bruckner's 9th is pretty terrific. His 8th, I have to revisit. And up to the 6th. The 6th is kind of interesting. The 5th I just listened to with Otto Klemperer, and my God, this is where I think sometimes Bruckner overdoes it. There's so much bombastic fanfare sometimes in his music with horns and percussion and more horns, and I sometimes think, oh my God. But then you get to a piece like this and you hear the second movement of this piece, and it's very tender. There's some beautiful moments. I just think sometimes overall his work is so bombastic, so over the top, so about all this, it almost comes off like this kind of fanfare-ish type of composition. But I'm still sticking with it. I want to re-listen that 5th, that Symphony number 5 with Klemperer I have. And I just was trying to weed through, those the over the top, phrasing and sections, and where there are, when you get to more, I just feel sometimes it's a little imbalanced with, you got all this heavy stuff going on, and where's the lighter stuff, the more tender, more melodic, when I say melodic, this is melodic, but that melodic, sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't take it anymore. Bruckner, he was an interesting fellow. If you ever read up on him, he had a thing for, read up on him. He just was a really interesting, quirky, person who you never thought by just looking at, which is terrible to say, but he would end up, his work kind of has lived on and gained a reputation over the years, since his passing, where his reputation and his music and, more and more people play him, which I don't know. Sometimes you never know why one composer gets the accolades, gets the attention, while another one, the work is just as good. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't think of any right now, but like, someone like Prokofiev to me. I think Prokofiev is a 500 times stronger, more interesting, the type of work he did, just his body of work, from his piano concertos to his, Peter the Wolf to Swan Lake, not Swan Lake, what was it? Sleeping Beauty, I think. I did one of those. I might be confusing Tchaikovsky, but his symphonies, like Prokofiev's symphonies, Alexander Nevsky, I just think Prokofiev's 100 times stronger composer than Bruckner. But it seems to me Bruckner is played way more than Prokofiev, for example. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. But Prokofiev to me is a much more interesting, widely varied, much more varied conductor than a composer than Bruckner. But anyway, here are some thoughts. I still, I didn't listen to this whole symphony. I listened to the first two. I'm listening to the third movement now, and I really want to sit and listen and try to get an understanding of this composer and why everyone, a lot of people love him, especially music directors. They always put him on there, in their season in some capacity. There you go. Bruno Walter, Bruckner 4. That was kind of a Bruckner overview as well. And I hope you enjoyed it. Peace. Tasty.